What's up? Good morning, everyone. This is Decentralized TV, Crypto and Coffee. I'm the Data Lord, and we'll see if Jaime joins us today. He's having some technical issues, so pray for the guy. Hey, your prayers have been answered. Look at that. Would you look at that? The ugliest view possible in StreamYard. Wonderful.
I had to move to a neighbor. Let's go.
Two people cropped up is terrible, but Jaime, thanks for battling tech issues this morning. What's up, man?
Outstanding. I'm loading up the charts and I will jump in.
All of Indo Crypto, happy hump day.
Happy hump day, everyone.
Boston, I see you. I suppose your beloved is near. What's up, Just Bossy? I see you.
Just Bossy. Good morning.
So let's take a look at the general markets, shall we? The general markets. So we have the market cap going up a bit. That's kind of what you want to see when Bitcoin's got a pump. Bitcoin over the last week has gone up 7.6%. So if you scooped last hump day, you're up 7%, almost 8% if you're playing a little bit on the way up there. But I certainly locked in profits because I don't think we're going to punch through the cinder block, but that's not financial advice.
Yeah, we're at an interesting point. And the reason it's paused right now, all markets, you see everything kind of going sideways, is because we're waiting for CPI numbers, which are later this afternoon. So it's a interesting moment. So the big question will be is, okay, will Bitcoin continue on up or hover in this areas? But we're right in the middle of the entire cinder block. If you're looking at it, where we're at, I mean, what a coincidence. The upper line that we had drawn, boom, there we are. As long as Bitcoin remains in this region, maybe pull back, it should not break down below 29,000 or 28,800. So it should remain within the cinder block for further upward movement. We do have the 200. This is the daily, the 3-day, yes. So the rest of the cinder block lies up to $33,000. So we're in the middle of the whole darn thing as it's trying to punch through. Now, what does this mean? If there's three pads here. One, it continues up into 32.5 to 33,000, or we remain here for a little bit, or we pull back to 25, which is the bottom of the range that we had seen before, which all three are good. They're fine. What Bitcoin needs to do now is find a footing and consolidate. So there should be some time where it stays where it's at. What does this mean now? The timing of this is pretty interesting also, because what's happening with Ethereum, let me flip over to Ethereum.
Yeah, Ethereum's able to unstake finally today.
Exactly, guys. So there's two things, CPI going on, and there's also consumer price index. So it's an indicator of what's next for the rest of the quarter. So that's why you also see traditional markets pause today, because this is a big one, showing, are we inflation still really bad, or are we headed south? What's going on? So once we have that clarity, we should see all markets, including Bitcoin and Ethereum, pick a side, meaning either up, down. Consolidation should be done. So within the next 24, 48 hours after CPI comes out, we should see a chosen direction. So either Bitcoin pulls back and consolidates or continues forward, or if Bitcoin, let's say, consolidates or pulls back, the next step is Ethereum and all the altcoins. They come out and play. Why? Because Bitcoin has found a point to be stable in. So now you can dabble, if you're into scoop up some of the alts and Ethereum, because now you can unstake. You also see a lot of the bulls, the ones that know what Bitcoin is doing, I'm sorry, Ethereum is doing, start staking now without having to go through the pooling Rocket Pool and a
Rocket
few
Pool?
of these others. Yes.
Rocket Poop, not that one.
Rocket Pool. So a lot of people, a lot of whales were staking through Rocket Pool. Why? Because that still allowed them to come in and out. Well, now that Ethereum you can unstake yourself, you're seeing a few of them liquidate their positions on Rocket Pool because now they, the whales, can actually pool for themselves, knowing they can pull out at any given time. So it's going to be an interesting day. And there's two upgrades. One, the staking and unstaking. And there's a second upgrade coming in on the same day. So today is an exciting day. It is hump day, and truly a hump day, meaning what is this hump bigger than we thought? Or is it a nice little hump to now hold us and we can accelerate from here forward? So that's what we're watching for today.
Yep. Yeah, do we need to go see our doctor after this hump day, or do we need to, probably get our Jeeps ready to go? I don't know.
Yes, and what Bitcoin's done is very bullish, by the way, everyone. So even if there is a pullback down to 25,000, just the fact that it did this shows that there's a lot of push forward.
Yep.
So we may be locking in the bull run very shortly, or at least entering that stage.
Which we fully expect between now and like the end of June. I expect something to materialize where it proves that, okay, we're done being on the bottom of the pool. We're gonna go up for some air and see what happens, right?
Precisely.
So we're getting close to that, and you can see that with the RSI. The Jaime was pointing out, like it was losing steam. It did pop its little head up for air. So the question is, just is it going to hang on?
Exactly.
Or is it going to dip back down?
Precisely. So every rocket needs to refuel. So at some point, there you go, it has to refuel. So this pump was welcomed by everyone. The big question is, was this a pump in preparation for a CPI pullback if the numbers are bad? Or is this a pump with some knowledge of what's coming? So people are already buying into the results, meaning it's priced in. So we'll see. By 2 p.m., I think today is when they release it, or end of day. I'll find that out.
Well, our next article will cover that. So
okay,
you will find that out. So, Jaime, thank you so much for the market review. So TLDR, Bitcoin might do a song and dance. We'll see what Ethereum does. We'll see what Bitcoin does. And based on that, we might have a small altcoin season.
Yes.
So the other thing too is with altcoin seasons, I recommend, just from my own experience at least, not really financial advice, it's better to have bags of altcoins prior to the pumps rather than waiting for the confirmation that there is pumps. So when it starts feeling like no one's really interested in them, that's usually the time where it's smart to buy a position, and then just be patient. So make sure your positions aren't so big that you can't be patient for months at a time. Really make sure it's like, okay, Bitcoin's moving sideways at a low. Okay, maybe I can get into a position on some of these alts, and I'm just okay with waiting until we actually do have an alt season. And once we do have an alt season, we'll cap some huge profits, but you just be patient with it.
And a few others that, let's say, missed the Bitcoin's pump, this is their chance to kind of make up for the missing this, let's say this like me by $59, as you guys recall. The alts and Ethereum are the opportunity. Well, Ethereum does trace Bitcoin quite closely. So it's more on the alts. Just make sure they're alts with real projects, real growth. And if you look at the charts of the alts overall, they are in a position where they could, if I move over to Matic, for example, is one of those that had been pumping for a while. You can see it stabilize, and it's between the 50 moving average and the 200.
Matic follows ETH though.
It, to a certain degree, not as closely as ETH
as
does
Bitcoin and ETH.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
Absolutely. And that's because those are big daddies. Those are ecosystems, right? Those are not just cryptocurrencies, they're ecosystems. And then things that play inside of ETH's ecosystem typically move up and down. Whenever ETH is at a safe point, you'll see people say, hey, I'm going to try to pump these bags that I have. That way they're worth something, and a whole bunch of other people do the same thing, and then you'll see one alt run the hell up because traders who don't even hold the coin got in just to play the market activity. So it's like chumming the water.
Correct. Precisely. And it's like Bitcoin Shark and its killer whale Ethereum are playing. So that's when they hide. But once they've done a run up in level, that's usually the opportunity you see for the alts to make a move.
I'm with it. So thanks, Jaime. Our first article of the day, massive offloading of Ethereum. LSD holdings ahead of Shanghai upgrade. So the institutional investors in Wales selling Ethereum and liquid staking derivatives, LSD, hilarious, tokens ahead of Shanghai upgrade. So the most awaited Ethereum Shanghai mainnet upgrade is scheduled at the epoch 194048 on April 12th. Hey,
we're there.
It's not quite yet. As per the announcement by Ethereum core developers, Shapala, which is Shanghai, and Kapala upgrade, will enable validators to withdraw their Ethereum staked on the beacon chain to the execution layer. Wow. Would you look at that?
So that means now you're actually performing the transactions full staking with staking, unstaking available.
All coins are converted to proof of stake is the idea. While it was expected that Ethereum will witness low selling pressure, institutions and investors have started dumping Ethereum and liquid staking derivatives. Well, liquid dumps is what it sounds like. Ahead of Ethereum Shanghai upgrade. Whales are also dumping ETH worth millions to crypto exchanges. They're dumping, guys. throw your poo emojis in the chat. Let's go. On-chain data firm Akram on April 12th reported that activity in liquid staking derivatives tokens is rising ahead of Shapala upgrade. A wallet linked to prominent anonymous crypto trader, not syphilis, Sisyphus.
I know.
It's not syphilis. Yikes. Has sold over Lido DAO tokens worth 4,000 or 400,000. So, Look On Chain reported that Blockchain Capital sold over 1.5 million LDO and 65,000 Rocket Pool tokens today. That's what Jaime was talking about.
Yep.
The entity currently holds no LDO and 107,000 Rocket Pool tokens. Blockchain Capital bought 1.5 million LDO and 1,000 ETH at the average price of $1.64 from January 27th to February 21st in 2022. Then they sold all LDO at a price of $2.3 or $2.33 today, and got 1,871 ETH worth $3.57. No, that's not in dollars. Goodness, no.
Yeah, that's the bag.
They're changing it up on me, man. $3.57 million, making a profit of over $1 million. That's not bad. I see what you did. Top LSD tokens falling massively in the last few hours. So LDO price fell 8.27% to $2.24. RPL, which is Rocket Pool, price plummeted over 9%. Is that really plummeting in crypto? Is 9% plummeting though?
No.
I feel like that's pretty normal. Like, we went down.
If you look at the growth from January to the day they sold, 9% is nothing.
Yeah. Poo emojis. I see you. Where my poo emojis at? Gundy, get those poo emojis out. Come on, let's go. We're dumping Ethereum. Some marked this as market manipulation as big investors staked millions of ETH in January to March and now selling their tokens. Glassnode, in a tweet, said, "We see exiting depositors who are predominantly those with only one validator and those who deploy their stake in the pre-launch phase or first quarter of the beacon chain lifespan."
So they're getting ready, guys, really. I mean, although they're saying they're dumping, well, yes, because now you really don't need LDO. And if you're a whale, we're speaking of whales, these LDOs and LSD, great names, by the way.
LDS.
I know what you did there.
That's religious.
Is for non whales are primary people that would use this, because not everyone has 32 ETH to stake. So the ones that did have it, the whales themselves, if you think about it, they don't want to be locked in. So they use services like LDL and LSD to stake through them, where they can unstake if shit goes south, for example. Well, in this instance, they made a strategic move. They entered into those tokens that as a proxy staking service to now sell it off for a profit by them. So these aren't dummies. They sold it for a profit. So now what is the next stage for, let's say, this organization, this whale that does stake, is to now find an entry to stake Ethereum into. So
Yeah.
kind of watch how they narrate these things,
Mhm.
because they're going to dump on the retail if they can, and then
Right.
get it at a better price.
And just for some perspective here too, for a very long time, I was a Ethereum miner, right? I was mining
Yes.
Ethereum at a pretty big scale for a hobby guy, and also did Ethereum Classic, bunch of other coins too. But Ethereum was my main cash cow, and what we saw happen when proof of stake stopped just being flirted with, but they actually started doing it, was a lot of people started investing in these like coins like Rocket Pool that were basically set up to say, hey, Ethereum's being really stupid here. 32 ETH is a freaking ton of Ethereum to stake a validator. So you're saying I can't participate in consensus unless I have 32 ETH? Like, why are you prioritizing people with that much money? You're cutting the little guy out of participating in consensus, as opposed to when it was proof of work, anyone with a gaming computer with a graphics card could participate in consensus. They could literally just, Nemesis, he mined that ETH poo coin, right? But it was cool though, because you could actually participate in consensus. And so it's like, okay, we very least have like a distributed consensus mechanism. That's cool. And then all of a sudden 32 ETH have to be staked on a very, very heavy enterprise server. Really?
The rich
And
get richer.
and you heavily encourage me to have it in Amazon Web Services because it's hard to get a hold of that type of hardware and host it with their SLA requirements. Otherwise, like, this is not a good system as far as like decentralizing the power. It really made me mad, and it made a ton of other people mad. I know I had conversations with Gundy Nemesis and Crypto Mikkel about this, like, not good stuff. And so what's funny is you see a lot of other services pop up like Rocket Pool that were like, we just got to create some middleware to interface between Ethereum's unreasonable expectations and what the general public's expectations are. And so I think what's happening now that this upgrade is going through, and now Ethereum will allow people to de-stake, because before you'd lock it into proof of stake, you couldn't take that money out. You were just hoping eventually this upgrade would come out, and it's a lot further along in history than I thought it would be. I thought
Yes,
this
a
would
lot of people were
this would come
surprised.
pretty quickly. It didn't, and it dragged people through the glass of a bear market. Just like, I can't move my money. Like, what do you mean? So, man, it's pretty brutal. Like emotionally, really taxing actually on people who locked in 32 ETH. Like, you know how much trading you could have done in this bear market with 32 ETH?
Yeah, it's quite a bit.
Like, dude, come on. So yeah, look, Nemesis says smash that like button. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, the whales certainly
Yes.
had a say, for real. And it was always for the rich, F the little people. And
staking is that type of mechanism, guys.
it doesn't have to be like, there's some examples. For example, Tezos, their staking is awesome. You can come in with a pretty small amount depending on the validator, usually like 20 Tezos. It's not even much at all. And you can totally make yield on that, self-custody even. But yeah, $2 billion dumping in the next 5 days. We'll see. It feels that way. Unstaking the rewards only for now. So
yes,
that's a good distinction to make there, Nem.
Thank you, Nims.
That it's not the principle of what they put in. It's not the 32 ETH. It's whatever the cream on the top that it earned was.
The
but
production.
it's still going to be a lot of volume moved into the market. So, and then yeah, 540 days later, it'll all be unlocked. So appreciate the input there. Levias, free. I see you. Yeah, Tron's gonna get their PP spanked in JVSE, brother. So, this is kind of a hot topic, right? I think this matters greatly. This affects our entire space. So the whales anticipate a fall in the ETH price. So whales speculate a fall in the ETH price due to a sell-off after the Shanghai upgrade. In the last 24 hours, whales have moved over or nearly 500 million ETH. Dude, that's so much money.
It's a whale for sure.
As per whale alert data, a whale dumped 19,000 ETH worth $35 million to the crypto exchange Coinbase. Yikes. Whales were caught moving 54,000 ETH and 100,000 ETH to another wallet for dumping. This is the type of money we're going to see hit the volume on like Coinbase, and and we're already having bank run type stuff, man. Like, I don't know. That's a lot of money to ask Coinbase to whip out.
Yes, because the exit points, the fiat on ramps and off ramps are going to be a problem here.
My guess is they're going to throw that into gold, just anticipating brick stuff, but who knows? Who knows? 13,700 ETH worth almost $26 million were transferred from Paxos Treasury to an unknown wallet, according to Whale Alert. The ETH price currently trades at $1,800, down over 2% in the last 24 hours. Interestingly, ETH USD spot volume has hit 2-year lows relative to BTC ahead of Shanghai upgrades. So I don't know what that means. We'll see. What it means, I suppose, is you pay attention.
Yeah, they're positioning.
It's kind of like, as a squad, we're like, yo, let's go out to eat. And the only place that was open was like this, Chinese buffet place that has everything under heat lamps. We're like, it should be fine. And then we all eat. And then at 3:00 in the morning, we're all texting each other like, dude, you feel that? Oh no, I'm peeing out my butt. Like, and we're all doing it. Like, that's kind of what's happening in the market right now. It's like, hey man, you feeling that? And it's like, yeah, I'm feeling it, man. It's like, I'm holding your hand long distance, playing words with friends on our phones.
Damn.
I don't do that anymore. I used to, though. Say I don't. So here's our head. That's shameful. I apologize. That's so shameful. So here's our headliner here. Binance US delists TRON, citing regulatory standing. And I'm not shocked to see this because I don't trust Justin Sun personally. As an architect, as someone who does due diligence on a lot of these cryptocurrencies for other investors and whatnot, they say, hey, Brandon, you know stuff. Could you research this for me? And I say, you know what? It's an honor and a privilege. I will do my best to gather as much information as I can and tell you what I think based upon an audit. And so I do that. And I did that for TRON. And what I found with TRON is, what the hell is this thing? It's nothing and everything at the same time. Like TRON didn't solve any problem. It was just like hype wave bullcrap, and people were just pumping it like a shitcoin from what I saw. So if you feel differently, you let me know in the chat. But I mean, I will let you know what I think in the chat right here. That's what I think.
So they bought BitTorrent as one of their strategic moves in the past.
But that's marketing. That has nothing to do with development.
Yeah, we'll see.
That coffee's good. It's crypto and coffee. We drink coffee. If you're not drinking coffee, you should be. It's that morning time. So let's read this. Binance said that it would be removing TRX, aka TRON, just hours after Justin Sun fought off arrest rumors. Oh, poor guy. He's taking it from both ends or something if he gets arrested. TRON has been under significant pressure as the crypto asset tanked. Tanking by 5% is not tanking. I don't like that language. Thank you. Yeah. Over the past, this isn't traditional markets, buddy. Over the past day, from 0.066 cents to, or that's dollars, sorry, 6.6 cents. I wish they would say it that way. This comes after the U.S. division of crypto exchange Binance announced the delisting of Justin Sun linked token from its platform. Sad boy.
And that's
sad
the
boy rap. Let's go.
US. I mean, if you look at it, it makes sense. Overall, the U.S. legislation is going after crypto. They bankrupted 3 banks, the main banks. So this makes sense. And if you notice, it's .us, Binance.us. So a big question is how many were trading in the US also? It is not being removed from Binance.com, which is the global side of things.
Yeah. Go make your Play-Doh snakes. Make your Play-Doh snakes. Okay. So Binance US certainly has way higher regulation because it's subject to the SEC. So,
Correct.
Which is apparently pushes people in crypto away from
The
United
US.
States investing, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
Well, it makes
Offshore.
sense if you're pro US dollar, I suppose. Clarified that it would continue to support TRC 20 USDT and USDC issued on the TRON network.
There's USDT in there. So, yes.
Good for you, bud. Good for you. Troubles for Tron. According to the official update, Binance US claims it considered various factors, including regulatory standing in the United States and evidence of unethical, fraudulent conduct, or negligence that contributes to its decision to delist a digital asset. When a digital asset no longer meets our high standards or industry circumstances change, we conduct a more in-depth review of the affected asset and assess whether further action is necessary. An example, delisting. That's actually good that they're doing this because what I know, especially when I first got into crypto, I jump on to like, the exchange, whatever it was, Poloniex or Binance, and be like, what the hell are most of these tokens? Like, I know BTC and I know ETH and I know Litecoin, but like, what's ape? What's, there's just all this nonsense on there. And it's just a big question for a ton of people. Like, should I care about these things or is this a noise floor? How speculative are these things? I see if I filter by percent up in the last 24 hours, some of these things with super low volume have very high percentages of green. Should I be playing with that? I don't know. And I think it's good that they're at least looking at some of these and saying, no, this is clearly not in a good place. We're not going to basically trap noobs in investing in things that they're not really sure what they're doing. So, of course, you should always do your own research before you invest, but people don't do that. Some people just roll the dice. So,
yeah. Be careful.
Yeah, what are you going to do? After reviewing, Binance US said it will remove TRON on April 18th, 2023. The news dragged TRX to a low of 6.2 cents, a level last seen in March. The recovery to press time price of 6.4 cents was mild, owing to massive FUD in the TRON ecosystem, as well as a broader market slump. Another ecosystem token, BTT, lost over 20% of its gains since February. Wow. Well, anyways, at least Justin Sun has a handsome upward eyebrow look because he'll need that in prison. That's how you get allies, right?
He is stateside though, because in China he had traveled. Do you remember that, Brandon, where he traveled out to the States and then they announced
for asylum or something? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and China says, "Okay, come back here, boy. We're gonna meet you over here."
Play-Doh snake, yeah. Yikes. So let's see this. So Binance US decision comes weeks after the US Securities and Exchange Commission sued Justin Sun on allegations of selling and airdropping unregistered securities, fraud, and market manipulation via his TRX and BTT token, violating Section 5 of the Securities Act. The regulatory agency also slapped him. Like douse him, just bah! The Tron Foundation, the BitTorrent Foundation, and BitTorrent, now known as Rainberry. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Rainberry. With I don't really torrent stuff anymore anyway. So with charges of fraud and market manipulation for creating an extensive wash trading scheme that manipulated the trading volume of TRX. And guys, look at this. This piece right here, manipulating the trading volume. We see this way more often than we want to see. This is the wash trading we talked about before on previous shows. Like, yeah, Mysterium, good investment.
They got you, coach.
Tron, good investment. Is Tron a good coin? We don't know. We'll find out. We're finding out. So this happens all the time, though, where someone will have like a bunch of coins, and they'll have two different identities, and they'll just flip them back and forth. They'll basically create demand. They'll be the fish and the hand chumming the waters at the same time, and that gets people interested, going like, "Oh, hey, look, there's 23% up in the last 24 hours. Maybe I should be trading that." It's like, yeah, why don't you buy high and sell low? That sounds like a great idea. But that's what happens, and it's used as a way to legitimize things that are clearly inorganic, right? Like people aren't truly interested or bullish on them. They just see numbers that they make decisions based on. So, you know, look at the chat here. So yeah, Levias T
T free
Freegate,
fate.
T Free Freight. Man, I can't talk. You have a funny name. BTT made me bank. Nem said it solved the issue of money laundering with no backlash. real. Yeah, I like how easy TRX was to stake and send. Yeah, maybe. I mean,
Yeah.
was it even? I don't have answers to this. But do you know if like the staking and sending was actually staking and sending, or was it just centralized GUI saying that it was? Let me know.
The back
You
end
bought it.
is
Yeah, you bought it at a penny. There's a lot of these applications which are like, yeah, it's cryptocurrency, and most exchanges work this way. It's like, yeah, you're staking and sending cryptocurrency, but nothing's happening on the blockchain, by the way. On a lot of these, all that's happening is they have some MongoDB, some like SQL database or something that their React web page is interacting with and saying like, yeah, this guy's account is owed this much, and it's just an IOU. You don't actually have that activity on the blockchain typically. So my guess is that's what's happening, because when you pull blockchain in, things aren't fast. That's just.
And Levias, you can tell is pretty canny trading, meaning he entered at the right time. It's like so many others that entered other coins in the past where they saw the opportunity, they saw the promise, and timed it well. The fact that you made the bank, Levias, is well played, sir. And good traders can trade anything. So this is one of those scenarios. But do your homework under the hood to really see, okay, is there? It's centralized backend with an Oracle database. Yes.
And that's my guess. Most of these
yeah.
applications work this way. And, as people who have played around quite a bit with developing crypto applications, like that's oftentimes how you have to establish your proof of concept to even get investors to pay for it. They just have to see what it will look like. They don't give a crap about the blockchain. The investors do not care what's actually on the blockchain. They don't care how the consensus mechanism works. What they care about is like, hey, would users use this, and would they put their money into it? Because if they would, then we'll give you money to keep developing. Mm-hmm. And so, like, it's sort of a double-edged sword. People kind of get used to expecting it to behave one way, and sometimes if the blockchain can't really accommodate the sort of end user experience they're expecting, they just keep it where it was in proof of concept. They just keep it looking and feeling good, but not really being secure on the back end of things. So God help us all. Learn to code. That's the takeaway. So the regulatory agency also slapped the TRON Foundation. I just love to say that. The BitTorrent Foundation and BitTorrent now as Rainberry with charges of fraud and market manipulation for creating an extensive wash trading scheme that manipulated trading volume of TRX. The lawsuit alleges that Sun attempted to artificially inflate the trading volume of TRX and forced TRON Foundation employees to participate in over 600,000 illegal trades using accounts controlled by the TRON and BitTorrent Foundations. That's sketchy as hell. Like literally, not even like third party doing it. It sounds like first party, they were creating wash trading. Like at very least, if you're going to play like this, be smart enough to cover your your footsteps, so they can't say, "Oh, it was for sure you." At very least, use anonymity. Like where they suspect it's you but can't prove it. Like, and I'm not giving advice to criminals, by the way. I'm simply saying, like, from an architecture perspective, like, I guess if you wanted to do that, like, yeah.
You know what? And your words are correct in terms of how even Indo with the NFTs, they would enter these efforts or ventures for NFTs that were scammy from the beginning, but they listened to Indo's team of, hey, you can correct, and they actually corrected. So who knows? Maybe your words will be listened on. Maybe Sun will get his team to do. But the fact that they actually use other accounts. What was the Wells Fargo? Remember that whole scam that they did? They started opening up all these checking accounts that weren't real. So yeah, you should stay ethical if you want to really have a long life in this industry.
And auditing has never been more real. Like I can sick an artificial intelligence to deep learn on your database and find out if there's areas of auditing I need to look into as a human being. So like, I don't know what people think they're going to get away with anymore. Technology has gotten to the point where you're not going to be able to hide things unless you're actually sophisticated. So
Correct.
it's just, it's sad to see people be so lazy, but in my opinion, Justin Sun should get face tattoos. So at very least, he looks like, Tekashi 69. He can at least, Plato Snake with a little bit of thug life, if he's gonna look at jail time. So that's my preferably clown makeup. If people know you're into ICP, they'll know you're at least a little off, and they'll be careful around you. So no disrespect to ICP folks. The TRON founder also lost his ambassadorship to the World Trade Organization shortly thereafter. The exec's arrest rumors further aggravate the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. While Sun managed to put his arrest rumors to rest, for now, the series of negative developments, however, aided in the massacre of his tokens. Well, Justin, I wish you well, buddy. I hope you learn to stop scamming people and do things the right way before the legal system catches up to you.
Yeah, it's inevitable. I think he's going to move out of the state soon.
Well, you know what they say. I love ICP. Hey, I'm not disrespecting. I said I respect you. You know that episode of like Workaholics where they all go to the ICP festival and whatnot? Like, I'm like that, where it's like, hey, I like you guys. I'm friends with you. I'm not necessarily one of you, but man, I had a good time hanging out with you. You feel me? So Federal Reserve will be forced to implement abrupt rate hike reversal, forecast macroeconomic expert. Jaime's always got opinions about these macro things.
yes, and the challenge is going to be, well, we'll look at the article, but it's going to be forced terribly. Yeah. Instead of being proactive, it's going to be a forced event. So let's go.
Yeah. A closely followed macroeconomist,
yes,
believes that the stage is set for Federal Reserve to start cutting interest rates sooner rather than later. I cut you. In a new video, Jeff Snyder tells his 44,700 YouTube subscribers that the U.S. economy is flashing signs of weakness and facing disruptions in the financial industry. According to the macro expert, the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and Credit Suisse last month is just the beginning of financial disruptions. He also mentioned that the country's labor market is starting to show signs of slowing down after payrolls grew by 236,000 in March, which is significantly less than 472,000 jobs created in January. And real quick on this number, I don't really appreciate this, where for 2 years we shut down about 70% of the freaking economy, and then we spin up a few of those jobs for the companies that were still left standing. They're like, look, we created jobs. Did you create jobs? Or like, if we were to rewind it back before we shut everything down, let's compare it against that number, shall we? Because that's the real number of what happened. Like, most of these businesses didn't go out of business because of COVID. They went out of business because of the governing response to COVID. It didn't have to be that way. It's better for the CDC to simply give people advice and say, hey, look, here's what we recommend you do, but to respect their personal sovereignty and let people do what they're going to do, because we didn't vote the CDC in. Do you understand that? We didn't vote them in. And so because we didn't vote them in, they shouldn't have any power to legislate what we can and can't do. They should simply be like professional advisory, telling us like, hey, according to these research experiments, we found this to be the case, and here's what our guidance is. We strongly recommend you do this. And if you don't, here's our concern of what we think could happen. That's, in my opinion, constitutionally speaking, at least, that's as far as it should ever have to go. And I know that's a big conversation, but
no, but you're right. I mean, why was COVID different to the rest of them when the death rate was the same as flu. Now look at the stats of flu. It's almost like it's non-existent. Oh, we cured flu. No, motherfuckers. We're applying flu numbers to COVID just to
Yeah.
justify the numbers. Who's wash trading now?
Well, and that's kind of the issue is I just want to see these numbers reported accurately. I don't like the I don't like twisting of numbers. Just give me the raw data or I'm going to find it on my own. Right. And I'm going to correct you and I'm going to discredit you before, a lot of people, if you're not careful. Right. So, yeah. Nemesis says, welcome CBDC
July.
and the Fed. Yeah.
July, guys.
From Coke to crack. Let's go. Kids these days. So Snyder says that the current macro conditions will likely force the Federal Reserve to shift its focus from fighting inflation to rescuing the economy from witnessing a full-blown recession. The funny thing is, I actually think we can avoid all of this with just sound economic policies. So, I just full disclosure, I do follow under the Austrian School of Economics. Most Bitcoiners do, by the way, because Bitcoin really does follow, like Ludwig von Mises's recommendations on economies. So, my whole view on this is we need to stop relying on credit and lending so much. We need to actually tighten up our belts and live within our means, pay our freaking debts off, and take that really serious as a matter of personal sovereignty. And then knowing that you don't owe anyone anything, you can say no to people. You can walk away. You can say, I'm not going to make those decisions. But the problem is when you put yourself up against the ropes, where do you have to bob and weave? Where do you have to, take a step back and get some space? You have nowhere to go. You're just going to get beat up. Yeah. And so you're going to lose a boxing match if you're cornered and against the ropes, right? So financially, you have to get yourself off the ropes. Financially, you have to get yourself into a position where you do have your assets diversified. You do have multiple streams of income. You do have very few debts, if any. A mortgage is probably acceptable, because that's at least an asset backed, right? And over time, as inflation goes up, your mortgage gets cheaper. So, in that case, like that's still a real asset. But I really think we need to stop playing games with credit cards and extending ourselves so much, because all that's going to happen is you become debt slaves to people who are going to
control
put you in positions where they can tell you what you are going to do or are not going to do. And Bitcoin's all about you having personal sovereignty to interact with who you want to interact with, right? So let's look at this. Snyder says the current macro conditions will likely force the Fed to shift its focus from fighting inflation to rescuing the economy from witnessing a full-blown recession. Totally avoidable if we just stop messing around with debt. The more we get of economic weakness, the more prospects for financial dysfunction. Man, that's music. How poetic is that? The more prospects for financial dysfunction. We do get a quick swing in the Fed reaction function so that rate cuts, they begin relatively soon and they can come fast and furious, which, by the way, is exactly what the way our markets are pricing. Markets are pricing for a quick shift to rate cuts and then a rapid series of them once they happen. This is not at all out of line with Federal Reserve history. In fact, it is perfectly in line with the Federal Reserve history, because in that history, the Fed usually follows the market and the economy, not the other way around. Do you hear that? The Fed follows the market and the economy. All the Fed's doing is bolstering what the market and the economy are doing. And what is the market and the economy? You are the market. You are the economy. You're voting with your money every time you're spending or not spending something. And so the point is, like, but by the way, Ron Paul was on Timcast last night, Tim Pool's show. And he was talking about this exact topic of, like, really politics are just downstream from culture. Really, politics are just a reflection of who you are and how you are. So if we want to change politics, if we want to change like our financial policies, even, we have to change the way we spend and we do business. Because if look, we're seeing this with Bud Light right now. Bud Light did some woke crap on their marketing, and a lot of people are like, "What the hell are you talking about, boy?" And look, I'm drinking Bud Light and watching football. I don't know what you're on about with this woke bullshit, And that's kind of how they approach it. And the people who are responsible for Bud Light's marketing are like, yeah, we're just really trying to be relevant and go for the young people and what they think is important, which means they're pandering to woke ideologies, right? And so the point here being is, if you want to send them a real loud and clear message, don't do business with any company that's going in a direction you're like, I don't want to support that, right?
That's
like
the old school way.
How about you make beer that is priced correctly and tastes okay, and maybe I'll do business with you. You give me a good and I'll give you financial compensation for that. Wow, what a deal. You don't have to like attach all these other ideologies to a drink. Like, you know what I mean? Like why, if I want a chicken sandwich, like why does there have to be a bunch of politics around it? Can I just eat a chicken sandwich? Like, does it have to be crazy? Like pump the brakes, homies. Let the product be the product.
Exactly.
Can we do that, please?
Yeah. And it's interesting to commit suicide like that. It's
seppuku, dude. It's freaking ritualistic. You're falling on your sword like a Japanese samurai.
Yeah, so but they do it for honor. These guys do it for bullshit.
Well, they're doing it for they're kind of doing it for honor. It's kind of for honor. It's like virtue signaling, right? That's kind of honor. It's upside down though. Markets are pricing for a quick shift to rate cuts and then a rapid series of them once they happen. This is not at all out of line with the economic and Federal Reserve history. So the macro economist recently told his 103,000 Twitter followers that the Fed has tendency to say it has no intention of cutting rates, only to swiftly pivot once reality hits. Snyder gave multiple examples, including the Fed's reaction in 2001 when the country saw the dot-com recession. And right now, we really should be using the dot-com recession as our case study because we're very, very, very similar to it. History doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. It does rhyme.
And we've been calling this, Brandon. We've been calling this for a while on the similarities between all the bullshit coins and all the dot-coms that existed back then. It's a lot of the same structures. So now's the time to do the homework to enter into those long-term bets for when all this works itself out, we grow.
That's an ICP joke. Fucking magnets, how do they work? I don't believe in scientists. They just lying to me, dog. They're getting me pissed. That's hilarious. I love that. Poor Jaime doesn't understand half these references, but I still love you, Jaime. Still love you. I'll show you later.
I'll roll with it.
Like, you stupid millennials. In 2000, fear of missing out. Just kidding. FOMC, the Federal Open Market Committee, refused to consider anything but a labor shortage and inflation risks. Beginning January 01, more weakness plus stock bust unleash furious rate cuts just weeks before policymakers said were unthinkable. So that read like crap, and I apologize, but I just read what it said. But the idea here is that like they're saying one thing and then they're doing another right after, right? Like, I could have never saw that coming. So you have the Fed target rates, which kept increasing steadily, over the course of the year. We had this flat line in 2000, and there was a bunch of other stuff happening in 2000. Like, people were concerned about, how tech was going to be affected by Y2K bugs, that kind of stuff too. But we see a flat line until 2001. And then in 2001, people are like, okay, maybe we should reevaluate what's happening. And it just crashes, right? Steadily, but it goes down. So in addition to concerning macroeconomic data, Snyder highlights that a number of central banks, including the Reserve Bank of India, Reserve Bank of Australia, and the Bank of Canada, have already hit pause on their rate hike campaigns. All the pieces are falling into place, and among those pieces, one of the last pieces is several central banks are already in the pause phase, with, I gotta believe, the Federal Reserve is not far behind. The days of rate hikes are incredibly numbered. Right. And so, Jaime, what does it mean, and what should people hear when they hear no more rate hikes? What does that mean for the average person?
So the average person, damn it, I wish you would have. I got to find this chart, but there's a chart that shows that the moment the Fed stops raising rates, recession kicks in. It's almost like they're waiting for the sound. They raised rates, and now they even raised it after they sniped three very important banks just because they were on ramps and off ramps to crypto or enabling crypto. They're like, boom, take these out. But then now you see Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank crack in the implosion or controlled implosion. They still raised the rates, interest rates, but it seems that, and of course their statement was until something breaks. Well, bro, you just broke something. Did you not hear these banks roll over?
Say
And
what machine?
Exactly. So by the time they start lowering rates, this is what we see. If you notice, they started lowering now. This is a zoomed in version of what usually happens when they start lowering rates. It's because something broke. And now you have a lost time period where now the market, us buyers, have to make decisions and somehow recover the economy so they can now rise as an economy. But if you look at all history, that anytime the Fed stops raising rates and starts lowering it, it's followed by a recession. Why? Because they finally succeeded in breaking something. So that's what we expect. So please don't go buy massive or very expensive things right now. You're going to need the cash. The normal people.
Keep your liquidity.
Yes, your job, everything you can, and so you can get through this. But this is the time where you now find your jewels that will make you money once the economy is back up.
Yep. The federal government can't taper a Ponzi as they now need to double down on the system. Will slow down. That's bad for MMT.
Yes, precisely.
Yeah.
So
well,
the taxpayers are the ones they say it's not affecting taxpayers, and they come up with these schemes about, oh no, it's not quantitative easing, but now the banks have all this access they need. It's like, okay, where'd this shit come from? It's protecting the homies, but not us, the people.
And this isn't financial advice, but what I am doing is I'm thinking more and more of my bank and my credit union as just where I move my value to pay assets. I keep a certain liquid amount in there just to handle transactionals, but I'm not storing my long-term value there. Correct. And I'm only moving money there as needed. And so in doing that, I'm basically relying less and less on that system. And I don't expect the majority of these, people I'm paying, like my mortgage company, let's say, I'm not expecting them to stop using fiat. They're going to keep using it. And so we simply just need a middleware that just converts, crypto to fiat or gold to fiat or, whatever your store value might be. But anywho, let's get to this next article here. So MetaMask launches direct fiat to crypto on-ramp service. Isn't this relevant to what I just said? Yes. Wow. Nice transition, Brandon. Kids these days. The buy crypto feature is part of a portfolio dApp, and users can now use local payment methods to buy roughly 90 cryptocurrencies by connecting their MetaMask wallet. Now, we know MetaMask has mixed feelings about. People are like, yeah, that's centralized. Yeah, that spies on you.
We've actually spoken to the MetaMask.
Fair enough, but if someone's spying on you in the first place and they're doing know your customer, they already know who you are, buddy. So I don't know that it's actually a drip in security as long as your private keys are still being held properly. Get the frick out of here, guy. So MetaMask has launched a new feature to allow users to buy crypto with fiat directly from their wallets. The buy crypto feature is part of a portfolio dApp, and users can now use local payment methods to buy roughly 90 cryptocurrencies by connecting their MetaMask wallet. I feel like I've read that before. Wow, thanks for repeating yourself. But here's what this baby looks like right here. So looks like MetaMask, but it's on a phone. So you can simply say like, yo, I want this much ETH, and it does ACH transfers. So debit or credit. That's awesome, actually. MetaMask said the service is live and is supported in 189 countries. However, there's a limit on the amount users can buy through the service based on the applicable laws of their region. which that's expected. That's just, you can't get around that. The feature is also live on its browser app, so check it out if you'd like to. The feature currently supports 8 networks, namely Ethereum, Polygon, Optimism, Arbitrum, Binance Smart Chain, Avalanche Contract Chain, Phantom, and Cello or Cello or Kello. I don't know. I've never heard of that because it doesn't matter to me. Fiat payment methods include debit and credit cards, bank transfers, PayPal, and instant ACH. Damn, homie.
Yep.
Your boy's got features. Look, I'm into that. Debit, credit, bank transfers, PayPal, and instant ACH. That's
well
nicey
done.
nice. That's nice. With more options to be added soon, like what? Kidney plasma donation? What are you adding to that? Like
IOUs.
Speaking of, that's a hilarious way to DCA. If you go to a local like plasma bank and you just give plasma and just take that money and just DCA that in, I bet you could get rich off of just supporting the plasma bank.
I bled
I'm just
for
saying.
this.
You can turn your cells into Satoshis. Think
That's
about
right.
it.
And guilt your children that you truly gave your blood for this.
Yeah, MetaMask censors users. No one in Russia can use MetaMask. It's BS, centralized garbage. Well, and being that it's centralized, I'm not arguing that. But if anything is going to interface with ACH, can you tell me any one application that interfaces with ACH that isn't centralized? I'll wait. Let me know, because if you have one, I'm interested to know what it is. But like,
so you should look
know
at
your
it
customer by definition is centralized, isn't it?
Yes, the fact that you go try to deposit in the bank and they ask you where'd this come from, or you try to get your own store value, they ask you where it's going. It's like, okay. So in this instance, use it as a transaction, as an interface. I mean, we're all tax-paying individuals. Let's do our jobs and then keep our store value away from the guys that fee us and fine us out of our store value.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that way, honestly. So, yeah, you let me know what you think about this. It's certainly kind of a hot conversation. At very least, it means on-ramp. And on-ramp is where you get adoption, because as things get easier and easier to use, people don't have to go out of their way and be techie to use something. We're going to see adoption. We're going to see the volume of our cryptocurrencies go up. We only have 2 minutes left, so I'm just going to give a fly-by-night of the rest of the articles we're going to talk about, or we're going to, just so you kind of privy what's going on. So the U.S. presidential candidate, Robert Kennedy, that's John F. Kennedy's
nephew,
advocates for Bitcoin as a safe haven. So we'll probably see more of this happening, because this gentleman is bringing this conversation of Bitcoin into this next presidential debate. So I'd love to see what individuals like Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden or Kamala Harris have to say about this, because a lot of people like Bitcoin and a lot of people are not liking what they're seeing with the US dollar. So this is going to be an interesting thing to see people kind of divided along.
It's going to be a hot topic. Like, you're starting to see polarization in Congress and the government regarding crypto, Bitcoin precisely.
Yeah. Also, you know how Elon, we covered, people are trying to maybe sue him for the whole Dogecoin meme thing he did, changing Twitter's logo. So Twitter will be added to Dogecoin Ponzi scheme litigation if Elon Musk cannot get the case dismissed. So we'll keep an eye out as that develops, because that's probably going to keep popping up. And then also happening, MicroStrategy's $4 billion Bitcoin bet in the green as the price hits 30,000. So MicroStrategy made a pretty heavy bet, and we're seeing them be kind of vindicated now as we're scraping out of a bear market. So
they were break even 29,000, wasn't it, Brandon? For all of their entire.
I think so. Yeah. They were break even, but they're in profit now. So if we actually do see a little baby bull run here, they'll be wildly vindicated in a short time frame. So, and then also Bitcoin decouples from stocks. That's been a big deal.
Without a doubt, yes.
This is going to keep being probably a topic of conversation we'll be covering. And,
especially financial stocks, guys. It's Bitcoin completely has broken away. So the beginning of the reason Bitcoin was engineered. We're seeing the dawn of the era.
We live in very exciting times, and I'm happy to be on this beautiful ship with you all. Happy Hump Day. We'll certainly see you on this Friday, and we'll have a wonderful show for you then. If you're not already engaged in our Discord, go ahead and hop in there. If you have any questions, we're quick to answer in there too. So until next time, I'm the Data Lord. This is Jaime on Crypto and Coffee with Decentralized TV. And until next time, keep calm and huddle on. Let's groove.
Huddle on, guys. Let's go.
Let's dance.
Where's the music?
Yeah. Yay.
Wednesday. Have a good one. Indo, Nemesis, JV, everyone who joined us. Just Bossy.
You chose Stank Face.
Let's go. You look constipated, bro.